the way that Hegseth justified the comments on Putin about Ukraine's borders will not be returned to what they were is
Yep.
he said he's talking about the realities of hard power on the ground. That's what he said. And he then went on to say you can't shoot values and you can't shoot strong speeches. There's no replacement for hard power. There is nothing like hard power. You know, Pete, I think King George might like disagree, man. There was like some scrappy colonies way back in the day that did not have hard power. They didn't have the hard power of the king, whatever that means, Pete. But you know what they had? Values, belief that independence and freedom and taxation without representation, and that a government who doesn't have your interest or rights in mind shouldn't govern you, that maybe somebody in a far off land shouldn't have control over you and your body and your family and your commerce. They were scrappy and small, Pete. I'm not sure what happened in that. Does anyone remember? One time, a couple decades ago, I believe Russia was involved in a place like Afghanistan. Dan, isn't Russia like, if I looked at a map, isn't Russia like a lot bigger than Afghanistan and has more hard power? And you know, they just didn't go great for the Soviets in Afghanistan. Sometime later, there was a Vietnam War, I believe, and a superpower called the United States tried to do what they wanted in a tiny Southeast Asian country called Vietnam. And I don't know, that ended how it ended. You know, it kind of seems to me like Ukraine is still in this fight, you dumb piece of whatever, Pete Hegseth, because of values and belief. Everybody thought they'd be steamrolled right now. And instead, fourth grade teachers and mothers of two are holding bazookas and fighting back. And that's why Putin doesn't have Ukraine in his possession right now. How can you be this stupid? Belief, values, speeches, when you have people who believe in a cause, they win. So you can sit here and give this like the worst CrossFit speech I've ever heard and like pretend that you know something about leadership, but you're not on Fox News anymore. And this might be the least American thing I've ever heard, not just because it's betraying our allies across the world in the ways you just described, Dan, but because if you think about the American founding, it's not about hard power. It's about people with muskets yelling the British are coming and fighting for their lives for independence in a way that nobody thought possible. And here we are, not to be like Mr. Thanksgiving about it and, you know, think that I'm super into that whole story. But I do think Pete Hegseth is saying the dumbest thing I might have heard this week. And I watched the Elon Musk speech like 3 times.
For more, tune in to the Straight White American Jesus Weekly Roundup on YouTube and everywhere you get podcasts.